retirement ceremony in which Major General Jason Q. Bohm, Inspector General of the Marine Corps, will retire from the United States Marine Corps after 34 years of honorable and faithful service. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the invocation given by Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Schlins, United States Air Force Reserve, and remain standing for the national anthem and honors to Major General Powers and Major General Bohm.
I invite you to join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we gather this morning to celebrate the retirement of Major General Jason Bohm and to recognize the role he and his family have played in the defense of our nation. Yesterday was Easter, and Christians celebrated Jesus rising from the dead to offer new life. May the timing of this retirement be anchored in that hope. For though the end of a career can feel like a death of sorts, may it also bring a resurrection and a new beginning for Jason and Sonia. As General Bohm looks back on 34 years of service, may you fill him with memories of missions accomplished and the Marines he led and loved. From Somalia to Haiti, from the hills of West Virginia to work on Capitol Hill, from Iraq to Bahrain, from Portugal to Quantico, for command at every level. May you look upon the work he has done and the way he has done it with favor. As he takes off his uniform for the final time, may you remind him of who he is underneath it, without stars on his shoulder or an eagle globe and anchor at his neck. Remind him of his dignity, worth, and value as a son of God, a position from which he will never retire or be reassigned. As we prepare to return this man to Sonia, Ashley, Ethan, and Emily, with gratitude for their sacrifice as well, I ask, would you fill them with an overwhelming sense of hope and expectation? Because the God who has seen them through the challenges of the past promises a new life and a future to all those who trust in him. I ask this now, in the name of Christ, my Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Chair.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Now taking his position is Major General William Bowers, retiring general for Officer Today ceremony.
Officer to be retired! Center! Hut!
To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Major General Jason Q. Bohm, having served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Marine Corps on the 1st day of April, 2024. Signed, E.M. Smith, General, United States Marine Corps, Commandant of the Marine Corps. From the President of the United States, Certificate of Appreciation for service in the Armed Forces of the United States of America. Major General Jason Q. Bohm, United States Marine Corps. I extend my personal gratitude and a sincere appreciation of a grateful nation to you for your patriotic service to our country. Your bravery and dedication in our armed forces helped protect your fellow Americans during a critical moment in our history and contributed to a world of greater security and growing prosperity. Your devotion to duty, honor, and country, in keeping with the long traditions of the finest military in the world, embodied the American ideal of selfless service. Our nation owes you an incredible debt. Your commitment and the example you set will inspire future generations to serve with pride and to keep our country secure. You represent the best of our nation, and I join our fellow Americans in saluting your honorable service. I wish you happiness and success in your next chapter. Signed, the Honorable J.R. Biden, Commander-in-Chief. A message from the Commandant of the Marine Corps. For General Bohm. Jason, you have been a gift to our Corps. We are all better off for serving alongside you. Trisha and I wish you and Sonia the very best in retirement. Again, all I can say is thank you. Semper Fidelis, E.M. Smith. At this time, Major General Bohm will receive a flag as a token of appreciation for faithful and honorable service to a grateful nation. In honor of Major General Bohm's 34 years of dedicated service to this country and passion as a historian, this flag was flown over the U.S. Marine Corps War Memorial and subsequently flown by the Washington Crossing Historic Park over the graves of the Continental Army soldiers who perished during the December 1776 encampment at the Thompson-Neely House and surrounding properties in the township. The park manager, Mr. Mike Kuzer, and the museum curator, Ms. Kimberly McCarty, thank you for your service and convey their best wishes for a long and fruitful retirement. Certificate of Appreciation. The Commandant of the Marine Corps takes pleasure in presenting the certificate to Sonia M. Bohm. In grateful appreciation of your unselfish, faithful, and devoted support of your husband's military career, your continuous encouragement and understanding helped to make possible Jason's last contribution to the Marine Corps. We fully realize that your perseverance and understanding were not provided without hardship and sacrifice during his tours of duty. Signed, Eric M. Smith, General, U.S. Marine Corps, Commandant of the Marine Corps. It is my pleasure to introduce our retiring officer for today's ceremony, Major General William J. Bowers.
Well, good morning. Lieutenant General Bierman, Lieutenant General Anderson, Lieutenant General Martin, General Officers, Marines, friends, families of the Bohm family. Thank you all for coming out for this very special occasion to honor the service of a truly remarkable American family and a battle buddy I've had the great blessing to be best friends with for the past 34 years. You know, Jason's left us with a book called From the Cold War to ISIL that talks about his achievements and what life has been like growing up in the Marine Corps. And all of us have been a part of this journey with him. What I'd like to do is just provide about 15 minutes of context for everything this Marine and his family have done for our Corps and our country over the past 33 years. And as we see with Jason, we're not talking about what Jason's done, but more importantly, who he is, like the chaplain said in the prayer. I think we see three themes emerge in everything Jason's done. Courage, every type of courage, physical, moral, mental, spiritual. Selflessness, puts his family, his fellow Marines, the mission, everyone else first but himself, and faithfulness. Faithfulness to God, the country, the Corps, his Marines, his friends. We're going to see these throughout the past 34 years, and what's truly been a remarkable journey. And me and my Fox Company TBS mates know because we were there from the start of it. It really starts back in June 1990. Bohm and Bowers were put together as TBS roommates. And, you know, I think Jason had got there a little earlier than me, and they made Jason the Fox Company first sergeant. So Jason was in charge as we're all forming and storming there. Jason is responsible for keeping accountability and getting us through the first week of processing and forming. And I had the great fortune to be the first platoon, a platoon sergeant. So we're roommates there, and I'm hoping I'm going to get some slack from my TBS roommate as I report all present and see other people running into the back of the formation. But I knew right away where I said, "Hey, Billy, got to get the numbers, got to be accurate, man."
I think Barrett was you in.
Running to join the formation. And then, you know, we started TBS together. And I remember our first week, this was the gray era, right? And it's all about FMF1 warfighting. So we had all read it and reread it, and we're having these platoon discussions about warfighting. It's just all the rage. And then that weekend, they popped a surprise test on us. And it was about a 20-page packet on the Battle of Austerlitz. And it was written by Dr. David Chandler. And I'm like, man, this is great. David Chandler was one of my professors at VMI. So all the VMI guys like, hey, we took this. We're going to do just fine. And then it had 10 questions. Write an essay and answer each one of these. Jason had never had Dr. Chandler, but what, about a third of the company failed the test. A bunch of us had to retake it. There was one lieutenant who scored a near perfect score, and none of the SPCs had ever seen that before. He got like a 98.5. And it wasn't me who had Dr. Chandler at VMI. It was Jason. Right out of the gates, first weekend at TBS, Jason aces the maneuver warfare test. And we're like, well, all right. And the truth is, he just never looked back. And all of us who were blessed to be friends with Jason, right, were just made better by just being around him. So we're going through TBS, and then we're taking some, you know, some of us are thinking we're still going to compete with this guy. And I'm trying to, and then we get to Land Nav. Land Nav's the great humbling experience of TBS. And a bunch of us bolo it. So we got to start showing up for remedial Land Nav on Saturday morning. And who's also showing up with us to get better at it? Jason. Jason, you got 100 on this. No, I just want to get better at it. I just love it. And Jason, well, hey, can you help me? Because I gotta be here. Some of us back there, so Jason helps us. But then as Jason starts coming, remember he was coming every Saturday. You know, JJ, all the other guys, like everyone starts coming. And you know, we were herds turds. And they had 3rd Squad, which was up there, right? 1st platoon. Then you start seeing Matt Cooper and JJ, all of us. I'm like, 1st platoon, like half of our platoon is going out there doing that because you just want to get good at it. And that's really what Jason does. He makes everyone around him better. All of us got better by being friends with Jason. Of course, he finished #1 at TBS. I don't think none of us were even close, right? He elects to be an infantry officer, goes to IOC, and this is when Desert Storm is going on. And Jason's disappointed that he missed it. A lot of us lieutenants were disappointed that we missed it, but not to worry. There's plenty of work for Jason to do out there. He gets out there, he joins 3rd Battalion, 9th Marines, deploys to Okinawa almost right away with 3rd Platoon. I remember seeing Jason and Sonia. They got married at TBS. I saw them before going over to Hawaii. They had a little apartment there in Carlsbad, and Jason was off. And Sonia was a Marine wife right from the start in the fleet, alone out there in California, figuring out how to make it work and how to take care of the spouses of Jason's Marines. Jason comes back from a successful deployment to Okinawa, and then this is the early 90s, Operation Restore Hope. Jason gets command of the 81s platoon. You know, the 81s were an unruly bunch in 3-9 at the time. They figured if there's anyone can square them away, it's Jason. So Jason takes command of 81s, squares them away, and then they go to Somalia for Operation Restore Hope. They call themselves Bohm's Bastards because he affectionately does get them squared away. And this is in the era of the 3-block war. General Krulak would call this the 3-block war, where in 3 city blocks you can separate warring tribes, you can see in high-intensity combat, and you can provide humanitarian assistance, disaster relief. Jason leads the 81st platoon with Tim Winan on his flank at the heavy guns platoon, working for a guy named Padilla, Fred Padilla, through a brilliant deployment through Operation Restore Hope, where he's faced with about every type of complex tactical scenario a young lieutenant could face, and he handles them all brilliantly. The only questionable decision throughout this Somalia deployment is Jason made the call to bed his platoon down in a field filled with Somali pancakes, which is kind of like sewage. Now, this is from an engineer who's made my share of crappers in base camp.
It was pitch black out.
Pitch black. Pitch black, right? Jason leads the platoon through Restore Hope brilliantly, comes back, does another deployment to Okinawa, and then he gets orders to the Fleet Anti-Terrorism Security Company. So Jason moves Sonia, they go across country, checks in at Norfolk. They have Ashley at this time, and right away Jason gets sent off to Haiti. I think Jason and his Marines had to pretend they were students, right? Because Marines weren't allowed in the country, weren't allowed to have weapons. Jason goes down and reinforces the embassy, comes back after a successful mission. Khobar Towers gets blown up in the Middle East, so Fast Company is off again to provide security at Menini Plaza in Bahrain. Accomplishes that mission, comes back, and then he's back to Haiti with his platoon for Operation Uphold Democracy. And it's in 1997 when Jason is selected for the Advanced Infantry Officer Course. Now, his first 7 years in the Marine Corps, he's done 6 deployments while married with a child at home, and another in Ethan is either soon to be born or on the way. He goes to the Infantry Officer Advanced Course, again, honor graduate just like TBS, ends up out at Camp Pendleton in 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines. Jason and I both got to the fleet around the same time. We started as assistant operations officers and then got command of our companies. Jason got Gulf Company, 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines. And I remember being really excited when we found out my engineer company was going to go to CAX to support Jason's battalion. So this is going to be great. We're going to be working together, and we're seeing each other out there. So Jason has the Helo company, and he's getting ready to do the helicopter assault course. So I'm talking to my lieutenants, and we have an engineer plan for, we're going to advise Jason how to employ the combat engineers. So I go up to Jason's tent, the Fox company. You know what's coming, right? So I go up there to see Jason in his tent. He's in there with Jason Perry. He's like, said, hey, Jason, hey, I wanted to talk to you about how you can employ your engineers for the Helo assault course. Oh, Bill, you mean like this? And he pulls out the map. He's got the blocking obstacles, the turning, the disrupting, where the tankage is going. Far better than the engineer could have done. This is Jason, right? This is Jason. You mean like this, Billy? Does this look good? Yeah. So I go back. The op order to the lieutenant says, do exactly what Captain Bohm tells you to do, right? Hack is a success. Jason gives the credit, again, the selflessness, gives credit to everyone else, makes everyone around him better. And then they're getting ready to do Range 400. And Range 400 is kind of an infantry company commander's report card. And the last time Gulf Company 2-1 had done Range 400, Emory had been shot. And Jason Perry, who was Jason's SO at the time, had talked about it because he was in the company at the time, and he'd kind of been tarred with it. And Jason had planned on getting out of the Marine Corps. Well, sir, I had someone shot on the range, and I don't see much of a future for me, and But Jason's working with him. And then Sonia goes into labor with Emily. So I come back from the range, and there's a yellow sticky. We used to do those. Captain Bohm wants to see me. So I go up, see Jason. He's in the tent there. There's a pre-K span. Hey, Billy, Sonia's going into labor with Emily. I'm heading back. I said, Jason, you got Range 400. This is in the Gray Mundy Krulak era, right? And we would all just quote FM1 The best indication of what type of commander you are, or how the unit performs in your absence. I'm going to be with my family, you know, when Emily's getting born. So he puts it on Jason Perry to take Golf Company 2-1 through range 400. And of course, the selflessness, right? Jason has the company well trained. Jason Perry takes him out to range 400. The Coyotes say it's one of the best runs they've seen. Jason comes back a week later. Emily's been born. Son is home. The company is doing great. Didn't miss a beat. The addendum is, you know, Jason Perry had a change of heart after that. You know, went on to stay in the Marine Corps. Became a Japanese FAO. Made colonel. Commanded the 4th Marines for Lieutenant General Bierman, the Shanghai Regiment in Okinawa, and is now the senior Marine at the Naval Postgraduate School, providing that same guidance, leadership, and mentorship to about 275 students undergoing training out there at Naval Postgraduate School. That's one example of the thousands of lives that Jason has touched. Jason comes back from CAX. It's obviously a great event. And the embassies get bombed in Kenya and Tanzania. So if you're Lieutenant Colonel Wagner, the battalion commander at 2-1, who are you going to send when the mission goes out? We got to reinforce the embassy in Kenya. You got a company commander. Company has just excelled at CAX. He's got 6 deployments under his belt already. He's got fast experience, sure enough. Golf 2-1 gets the call. Jason's company is in Kenya, reinforcing embassy security in Kenya. He links up with the MEU, completes the MEU deployment, and around this time, in the fall of '98, the MAR admin goes out asking for nominations for the Leftwich Trophy. And the Leftwich Trophy is known as the best infantry company commander, really combat arms company commander in the Marine Corps. And all of us captains, you know, it really isn't even a competition. We know who it's going to be. And it's no surprise Jason is the winner of the 1998 Leftwich Trophy. General Krulak comes out to present the award there at 1st Marines headquarters. Colonel Paxton is the regimental commander. And there was kind of a cruel joke going around the Corps at the time, like, yeah, it's great you get that Leftwich Trophy, but be careful, because there's a set of orders taped underneath that trophy with orders to the worst recruiting station in the country, right? And it happened to Dale Opry's in Nashville, Tennessee. You know, before that, Jeff Caney is in RS Pittsburgh. This is around the time that Dave Furness is getting smoke jump into RS Sacramento. So Jason goes up there to get the trophy from General Krulak and Colonel Paxton, looks under, orders ain't there, gets the trophy, brings it home, orders to the Marine Corps Command Staff College. Selected for major, but before we send him to Command Staff College, let's see if we can get another deployment out of him. This is around the Kosovo is going on. We need his expertise in Kosovo. They thought they needed his expertise as an individual augment before the Corps was really providing those. Jason gets over there to fill a major's billet. Finds out there's a lieutenant colonel who wants to get out of there and go take command. And yeah, Jason, you're not going to fill that major's billet. We're going to bring you in here to fill the senior lieutenant colonel J5 billet to help plan the O plan, steel anvil. So Jason helps do another O plan for a JTF as part of the Kosovo contingency. When he's paroled and he gets back, moves the family, all 3 kids now, back to Quantico for Command and Staff College. So Jason's at Command and Staff. He's loving it. He jumps into his thesis he's going to do about Marines, how we've got to prepare to fight this 3-block war. But those devils at Manpower have figured out, you know, we know they got on the us with taping the orders underneath the Leftwich Trophy. Let's just put those orders in a drawer for now. Let's get him back here, think he's safe at Command and Staff College, and then we'll hit him when he's writing the paper and can't fight about it. Sure enough, Jason's writing his thesis, and then boom, orders. Charleston, West Virginia. Well, wait a minute, did I get a chance? Yeah, you're going to Charleston, West Virginia. So for 3 years, Jason was sent out there to recruiting duty in Charleston, West Virginia. It was the hardest recruiting station in the country. The 4th District was the toughest district for recruiting in the country. That was the time of the ramp up to the OIF war. It was a very challenging time. The best warfighters at the Corps were commanding recruiting stations, in the 4th Marine Corps District. Lieutenant General Donovan was up in Harrisburg, General Bierman was in Richmond, General Journey was in Baltimore, and General Bohm was in Charleston, West Virginia. And he didn't get reinforcements, did not get the support, but gutted it out and made it. And what he really grew in this tour was his faith in God, right? And got a great community out there in West Virginia, became part of a great little church, and grew in his faith and in his love of the Corps. After 3 very tough years, Jason and I were out there together. It was time to go back to the fleet in 2004. So where do you want to go? He said, I got to get back. I got to get regreened. Where are you going? Well, then go be the XO for 1st Battalion, 1st Marines for a guy named Lieutenant Colonel Dave Furness. I said, all right, Jason. So Dave Furness is not a shrinking violet. You're not a shrinking violet. Hey, here's where I'm going. We're going to get a deployment. So Jason goes out there and is the XO for Dave Furness on 1st Battalion, 1st Marines. Loves working for him. The battalion does amazing things. They provide humanitarian assistance, disaster relief for the tsunami in Indonesia when the giant wave hits there. They go up into Baghdad. They go up into the Middle East. The MU gets tasked to provide security from southern Baghdad down to Mobile. So Jason, with 1-1, and Dave Furness in the lead, they go and they provide security for southern Baghdad in a very, very tough time. Jason is selected for Lieutenant Colonel. The MU comes back. Another successful deployment. But now Jason is a Lieutenant Colonel Select, and he can't stay in 1st Battalion, 1st Marines. So what do they do with him? They send him to the division staff. Well, Blue Diamond staff, but hey, Blue Diamond's getting ready to go and redeploy back to Iraq and take over from 2MEF. So who do we send over to set conditions for a successful transition from 2MEF to 1MEF? Right back into the mix. So we send Jason back to Iraq. So now he's the current operations officer in the division. He's working for 2nd MARDIV as 2MEF leaves, as 1MEF comes in. This is Lieutenant General Zillmer, General Neller, new command coming in, and Jason just makes it all go seamlessly, smoothly, and does yet another combat tour. He gets to come back. He is slated to command 1st Battalion, 1st Marines. So he can't stay in Iraq for the full year. He's got to come back and take this battalion and get them ready to go. Either on his way back or shortly after he gets back, he learns that the battalion's deployment has been accelerated by 4 months. So he's going to have to really do an accelerated timeline to get the deployment ready. This has been the surge in Iraq. Come on, he's done 9. This is 8 deployments, 6 combat real-world contingency deployments. So Jason's running through the Camp Hamilton training areas, trying to find out where he can train his Marines, where he can make the best use of every square piece of dirt out there in Camp Hamilton to get his battalion ready, and he's bit by a rattlesnake. Now, you're not going to get through 8 deployments, 2 combat tours in Iraq, and come back and get bit by a rattlesnake?
And dance.
Well then, Jason's not going to go to the duty and say, hey, call an ambulance, not the future battalion commander. I got to get myself to the hospital. He gets himself there, get Marines, he gets up to the hospital, he gets the drugs, calls son, hey, got bit by a rattlesnake, bring me some books, I got to do some studying while I'm laid up in the hospital. Get ready to take the time. And son brings him the books. He takes 1st Battalion, 4th Marines to Iraq. He gets the area of Al-Qaim. He's learned from one of the best warfighters we have, Dale Alford, Dale Alford and Dave Furness kind of showed how it can be done over there. Takes Al-Qaim, continues the great work that Alford has done. General Bierman is on his flank there in Haditha. And years later, I'm in the living room of Lieutenant General Stacy Clarity, who was the 3MEF commander. And, about once a month on a Sunday afternoon, I was the MCI PAC commander, he was the MEF commander. He would have me up and we'd just talk about 3MEF business, MCI PAC business in his living room right there over a beer. And he had just finished a whole bunch of fitness reports, and fitness reports were on his mind. And he says, yeah, I've just been in fit rep hell all day. I just wrapped up about 30 of them. I got a few more to do, but have you done yours yet? We start talking about it, about the profile, and then he says, I've been very careful with how I've managed my profile over the years. And I'm very proud to say that my battalion commanders in combat are still at the top of my profile. They're the best I've seen. And this is from the 3MEF commander. And he rattled off who they were. And Jason Bohm was one of them. One of the other ones was commanding the 3rd Division out there, for general clarity. That's what the commander of 2nd Marines thought of one of his battalions coming from 1st Marines in combat for what Jason did over there. But again, the selflessness, right, and the faithfulness. Jason had engaged with the sheikhs, and he was working with the locals out there, but when one of the mayors was disappointed that he didn't get FaceTime, I believe it was President Bush, Jason said, oh, don't worry, Major Farwan. The sheikh got to see George Bush. You're going to get to see Mickey Mouse. I was like, what? We're going to get you back to Southern California, get you to meet Mickey Mouse and see Disney. And Jason worked for years at it with his partner city, Laguna Niguel, with Nick Morano, and got Major Farwan back to Southern California, because that's how much he cared and his selflessness. Comes back from 1st Battalion, 4th Marines, gets selected to go to the National War College, is the honor graduate of National War College, ends up in the J5 as the executive assistant for first Admiral Winnefeld and then General Jacoby. And you know, I was right behind Jason at National War College, and then I ended up in the J5. Jason may have had something to do with that. But one morning, it was interesting. One morning, it was a Monday morning, I get a call from Jason saying, hey Billy, the J5 wants to see you. I said, all right, should I get the colonel and yell? No, just you, just me. Am I in trouble? Just get down here. So I went down there, and Jason and I are in there, and it's General Jacoby. Let's get the hat. So Jason and I are sitting opposite to them, and General Jacoby's at the front. Hey, he says, yeah, this is General Jacoby. I said, the chairman has just come back from travel with the CAG. And he says the CAG is going to write the National Military Strategy and the chairman's risk assessment because they got his voice. Those documents need to stay here. We're going to do those in the 5. He says, us guys, we've been on the ground. We know what it's like. And Jason's like, sir, we'll take care of it. We'll enable and facilitate the CAG's success. We will get the documents here and produce them as the 5 should, and as the doctrine should. And sure enough, through some of those Byzantine, lanes up there at the Pentagon, Jason maneuvered, made friends with everybody. The 5 ended up publishing both documents, and more to come. The CAG director ended up going to Jason for help, in 8 months, so he could become the civilian deputy, J5 himself. And again, the selflessness, Jason made everyone around him better. And he did it without seeking any credit for himself. Moral courage, selflessness, faithfulness. So when he's done with his time in the 5, Jason really wants to get back to the fleet. He's itching to get back to the fleet. This is when Afghanistan is going on. He's like, I just want to get back to the 1st Marine Division. And the assistant commandant at the time is a guy named General Dunford. He says, nah, we're not going to let you out of DC yet. We need you to be the Marine Corps' liaison to the House of Representatives. So General Dunford selects Jason to be part of the Office of Legislative Affairs, the Marine Corps' rep for OLA. Knowing General Dunford like we all do, General Dunford thinks ahead, and he probably knew 5th Marines, my old regiment, is going to be screened next summer. I have a good idea who would be a great commander for 5th Marines. Sure enough, Jason does 2 years up there in the House of Representatives. He is selected to command 5th Marines, and he takes the family back out to Camp Pendleton one more time. Except this time, it's not just going to be a straight-leg 5th Marine Regiment. Jason is going to stand up the 1st Special Purpose Marine Air Ground Task Force Crisis Response in Central Command. So he has 4 bosses now. He's working for the Division Commander, the MEF Commander, the Marine Corps Installations West Commander, because Jason's the San Mateo Commander, and the Mars Cent Commander. Jason stands up, Special Purpose MACTAF, deploys them to the Middle East, And then he deploys with a contingent into Iraq to support the joint fight against ISIL. This is 12 total deployments, 10 combat contingency real-world deployments. Comes back, selected to be the director of Expeditionary Warfare School. As he's the director of EWS, he's selected, to no one's surprise, the Brigadier General. And when General Dunford turned over command, had the passage of commandancy to General Neller, General Dunford talked about what General Bohm, what Jason had done with 5th Marines out at the Special Purpose MAGTF. So, Jason's at Quantico. He takes command of Training Command, 18 colonel commands distributed all over the United States. It is a tough beast to get a hold of. This is also at the time when the direct around combat exclusion rule is being lifted, so Jason has to do all the standards for the basic school and make sure the integration goes exceptionally well. There's institutional risk at stake, and Jason handles it all brilliantly. He gets selected for joint duty. He goes over to Strike Forces NATO, does 2 years over there, helps square NATO away. It's a Navy command, gets them squared away, and then gets selected to come back to be the Commanding General of Marine Corps Recruiting Command, except the one challenge this time is not going to Charleston, West Virginia, and not taking over the worst artists in the country, but he's taking Marine Corps Recruiting Command at the height of COVID, when the high schools were all locked down. Jason takes command from his flank man from out there in Iraq, General Bierman, continues the success, and the Marine Corps is the only service to make it during Jason's tenure and ever since for what he's done as Commanding General of the Marine Corps Recruiting Command. After turning over to me, his former TBS roommate, he gets selected to be the Inspector General of the Marine Corps. In everything he has done, courage, physical, moral, spiritual, doing the right thing for the right reasons, selflessness, making everyone around him better, faithfulness, truly epitomizing Semper Fidelis, to his Marines, to his family, to God, to the country, to the Corps. Everything he's done, courage, selflessness, faithfulness. And, you know, he's also found some time to make some other contributions as well. You know, we got 2 books here that he wrote. From the Cold War to ISIL was a great journey that just will bring a smile to your face. And Washington's Marines, his latest book, just won the Francis Tavern Award for the best book of the year, and it's up for another book award currently. But you know, he hasn't done it alone. He's done it with a supportive and loving family. And Sonia, thank you for loaning Jason to us. 34 years, 12 deployments, 10 combat deployments, raising 3 children. You have truly done it all. Our nation owes you an enormous debt. For Ashley, and Ethan, and Emily, watched you grow up, you know, seeing you just know your parents are so proud of the children you've become. You know, Emily, you brought smiles to our family's faces when we were in Okinawa and locked down, and our family was imploding in there, and we got a message from you, can you bring Christmas presents for the girls? Right? Just came over and played with the girls for the afternoon. And Ethan, I know your dad's so proud of you, and Ashley, it's so great to see you again. Your family has given more than can be expected, more than can be asked to this country, to the Marine Corps. And our nation, our Corps, and all of us who've been blessed to be Jason's friend, who are better because of our friendship with him, owe you an enormous debt, an enormous thank you for loaning him to us. So, on behalf of all the Marines whose lives you've touched, on behalf of our Corps, our country, thank you all very, very much. God bless you. Semper Fidelis.
would like to introduce Miss Bohm.
Thank you, Dad. I'm going to stick to my script because I'm very nervous right now. My heart's beating about as fast as it's all going. All right. Perhaps it's not common for the spouse to offer words at the retirement ceremony. I honestly don't know. But I felt compelled to offer a few words of congratulations to my husband and to acknowledge my gratefulness for this life that his calling has given me, Ashley, Ethan, and Emily the opportunity to live out. Grateful for Jason's dedication and for his love. I'm occasionally thanked by others for the sacrifices that I've made because of his calling, but I never viewed it as a sacrifice. It was always a joy, an honor, and a pleasure. And today it's also my joy, honor, and pleasure to be able to witness the promotion of our youngest daughter, Emily, to Staff Sergeant. We're all here as witnesses to these events. Our family of 5, our extended family and friends, and our Marine Corps family. Those who could not be here but wanted to be, we know are here with us in spirit. I'll end with a poem that I wrote several years ago, which I thought fitting for the day's events. And I'll try to read. The poem's entitled Warriors and Patriots. A warrior who stands for an ideal, with vision sharply set upon the right, makes no use of pomp or prop in the fight, distractions that seek only to appeal, encumbrances restraining honor-clad movements that require no apology, not theirs to promote ideologies of any one or other faction. Glad to make use of might and main for a cause lofty in purpose, sworn to support and defend that which seeks a virtuous end, liberty and peace through a supreme law. Citizens are born, but patriots made, inspired by selfless acts exemplified by those who chose to put the full cup by, so others may find rest within the shade. Sing to your daughters and sons songs of hope, optimistic odes, patriotic verse. Build resiliency as they rehearse lines for the time it will be theirs to cope, theirs to move and to breathe and to decide. Weave strong fibers into their tapestry, motivate them to noble ministry. In such and in their God they will abide. Thank you all for being here. You share in our story. We love you, and I'm forever grateful.
That's a hard act to follow. And Billy B, you're the man. Okay, so it may be a rainy day, but it's all sunshine in my day, all right? And it's because of you. So thankful to have all of you here. General Bierman, General Anderson, General Martin, Admiral Miller. Oh, Sergeant Major and Pam, you made it. Slipped in on me. Excellent to see you. Sergeant Major Wiggins, Sergeant Major Scott, General Lukeman, Miss Garrison, SES Shilton and Adams, General Bowers, my dear friend, and all of you. Thank you so much for joining us and honoring us today with your presence. Also want to recognize all of the other sergeants majors, if I missed any of you, and the master gunnery sergeants in the audience. I know there's at least 2 now, right?
1 now.
Okay. Yes, someone had to go. Okay, I also want to personally thank General Lukeman and the Marine Corps Heritage Foundation. Thank you so much for the beautiful venue and for all the support for us today and being able to be here. And thank you for helping to preserve our rich history and tradition of our Corps. I want to thank the band. Excellent music as always. Thank you so much. Stratcom, where you at? Strategic Communications, we're filming things and taking pictures. And I want to thank my home team, the Inspector General team, for all that they have done to be able to make this event happen today. Thank you so much. A special thank you to our chaplain, Pastor Jeff Slins, who is our pastor at City Gates Church. And Jeff, would you stand up for a minute, please? So you'll recognize the fact that he's a fine-looking Air Force officer. But what I also want you to understand is that he's a former Marine Staff Sergeant. Oh. Thank you. And it's fitting today that we have Pastor Jeff with us because, as you have all heard earlier, we also had the distinct pleasure, as luck would have it, that my daughter's number did hit, and we'll be able to promote her to Staff Sergeant directly following this ceremony. So that Staff Sergeant connection there. And let me tell you, I could not be happier. So thank you all for being here. As I stated, we will do the ceremony. The way it's going to work is I will make my comments. We'll finish this part of the ceremony. I understand some of you may have to go back to work. We're going to change uniform, get to know each other a little bit better. We're going to walk down this trail right here to the Molly Marine statue, which is a female Marine statue, and we're going to do our daughter's promotion down there. And we would be very honored if you could all join us for that. And I also want to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I apologize for the fact that this is the day after Easter, and I know some of you had to travel on Easter. I apologize because Lee let me know that the plane tickets are much more expensive right now because it is a holiday weekend. And but you know, you really do honor us by your presence today. And Sonia and I would like to sit here and recognize every single one of you and talk about how you touched our hearts over the years, but we just simply don't have enough time to do that. So if we could, after the ceremony and during the reception, we would love to be able to engage with you individually, and thank you for your time and for your support all of these years. On that final admin note, the receptions traditionally are held in the museum, and I encourage everyone, if you haven't had the opportunity to go through the museum, it really is a pilgrimage for all Marines. However, we're not doing a reception there today. We're going to do it at Milano's Family Restaurant in Springfield, Virginia, which is about 30 minutes up to 95. And the reason we're doing that very simply is because we want to support some local businessmen. And you know, all the restaurants got hit pretty hard during COVID, and this is kind of our go-to place in our neighborhood, and so we want to show our support for the locals. And I know General Lukeman's got all kinds of money. All right. Well, before I begin my comments today, I really first want to take a moment to acknowledge and to thank God. Okay, because not only for all that He's done for all of us, and for my family specifically, but perhaps even more importantly, for the challenges and the struggles that He has placed in my life. Because I know, and it's took me several years to figure this out, that I had grown much more during those trials of life than I ever did when things were going well. And I thank God for that opportunity. I also want to thank my family right up front. So all of you in the room know, when you heard from General Bowers, some of the challenges of being in a military family, the lost friendships, the sacrifices that are made, the moves, it all takes a toll on the family. But I would argue that it also builds character and it builds resiliency. And Sonia and I love our kids dearly. We couldn't be happier with the people that they have become, the talents that they are using and following their passions and becoming good citizens in our great nation. But of course, as Bill said, none of this is possible without this strong, independent, brave, resilient woman that you see sitting before you today. So my wife, Sonia, truly is my best friend, and I love her dearly. Now, I'll be honest with you, it isn't always rosy, okay? But, you know, that's my fault and not hers. But all joking aside, now, Sonia and I have been together for 37 years, okay? Longer than I've been in the Marine Corps. She has been with me every step of the way that Bill very thankfully shared. And I can tell you that I cannot ask for a more supportive, loving, or caring partner, or loving parent and supporting parent than Sonia. And like God, Sonia has not always given me what I wanted, but she has always given me what I needed. And I'm very grateful for that, and there's not a person in the world that I look forward to spending the rest of my life with. I love you. I also love the Marine Corps. Okay, in fact, my mother still has a scrapbook with a letter in it that says, "Dear Jason, thank you for your interest in the Marine Corps, but seeing as though you're only 12 years old, we can't help you right now." True story. I still even have the iron-on that they send along with it. Now, little did I know that I would become that recruiter man later that sent that letter. But all joking aside, true story, you know, I have wanted to be a Marine for quite a long time. And the advice that I received from the recruiting station SEAL at the time was to stay in school. So I did, and by doing that, and through the mentorship of some very wise and caring staff NCOs, staff non-commissioned officers, I stand before you today. So while contemplating what I wanted to talk about today, the answer became very clear to me. I am leaving the Marine Corps today with a happy heart. And I want to share with you why I love the Marine Corps. I love the Marine Corps first and foremost because of all of you. Because of every Marine sitting in this room, every Marine that I had the honor to serve with over these years, every Marine that went before us, and every Marine that's going to come after us. I love the Marine Corps because it's older than the country it defends. I love the Marine Corps because it was established in a bar, no doubt filled with ruffians, like many of you in the room today. And that culture has remained with us for 248 years. I love the Marine Corps because we jealously guard the rich history and traditions, and we pass them down from generation to generation. I love the Marine Corps because no matter where we are in the world, or what our circumstances are, we all celebrate the birth of our Corps every November 10th. I love the Marine Corps because we have the best damn uniforms in the world and everyone knows it. I love the Marine Corps because we make and keep 3 promises to our great nation. We make Marines, we win battles, and we return good citizens to our communities. I love the Marine Corps because one has to earn the title Marine and every other thing that's worth gaining in the Corps. I love the Marine Corps because Marine recruiters continue to make mission during the most difficult time in Marine Corps recruiting history. I love the Marine Corps because the young people we attract and recruit join knowing full well that our boot camp and our officer cadet school is going to be longer and harder, that they are promised nothing, and that they will consistently be asked to do more with less. Yet they keep coming because they're selfless servants and willing to sacrifice all for the greater good. I love the Marine Corps because we follow a transformation process where all recruits and officer candidates are broken down as individuals and placed on an equal playing field, where one's success is measured by the contribution they give to the team and not by their pedigree or their ethnicity or their gender. I love the Marine Corps because every day I get to serve with men and women of honor and character. I love the Marine Corps because we remain true to our brand of being tough, elite warriors. As other lower standards to better mesh with society, we understand that war is a dirty, nasty undertaking. We instill discipline, standards, and values in our people, and then we hold each other accountable for living up to them, because failure to do so will lead to defeat on the battlefield. I love the Marine Corps because we exist to win our nation's battles, not wars. Our friends in the Army, Navy, and Air Force exist for that purpose, but we kick the door in and we kick the snot out of anybody that we need to enable the other services. I love the ethos of the Marine Corps and that every Marine is a rifleman first and foremost, regardless of their military occupational specialty. And every officer is a potential rifle platoon commander. History consistently proves the wisdom of this approach. I love the Marine Corps because when in civilian clothes and asked, what do you do in the military, we don't respond with, I'm a pilot, I'm a surface warfare officer, or I'm a tanker. We reply simply, I am a Marine. I love the Marine Corps' warfighting doctrine that is as relevant today as it has been since it was first written several years ago. I love that Marines fight as Marine, Air, Ground, Logistics Task Forces, which helps us to be self-mobile, self-sufficient, and self-supporting when necessary. And I can't tell you how many times that has proven true and played to our advantage in combat. I love that Marines are trendsetters, and that historically we take the lead in developing innovative approaches towards fighting the next war and not worrying about fighting the last war. I love the Marine Corps because our Marines are flexible, adaptable problem solvers who train to understand that they can accomplish anything. Anything. There is no challenge too great, there is no obstacle too high that we cannot overcome, particularly when we work together as a team. I love the Marine Corps because we do windows. We do whatever the nation needs. More often than not, I found myself deployed on one mission only to have to quickly shift gears in order to end all other missions as the President may direct. I love the Marine Corps because we love to fight. Unfortunately, this often occurs in peacetime as often as war, but it is what it is. I love the Marine Corps because we are not only the fiercest fighters in the world, we're also the most compassionate people that I know. I love the Marine Corps because we are mission focused. We always put mission first, even if it requires sacrifice. Unfortunately, oftentimes it does, whether that be on the battlefield or at home. I love the Marine Corps because we stand over the bodies of our fallen comrades. We show our respect, and then we get back in the fight until we achieve victory. But I also love the Marine Corps because we never forget. Our fallen comrades. I love the Marine Corps because of our motto, Semper Fidelis, always faithful to our God, to our country, and to our Corps. We're all brothers and sisters. I love the Marine Corps because the nation does not need a Corps. We have an Army, a Navy, and an Air Force that can do everything that Marines do, and oftentimes, quite frankly, they do it better. But the nation wants a Marine Corps because of our unique culture and the strong conviction that Marines always get it done. I love the Marine Corps because we own our mistakes. We correct them, and then we move out smartly. I love the Marine Corps because even on our worst day, we can still say, I'm a Marine. I love the Marine Corps because once you earn the title Marine, it stays with you for life. And finally, I love the Marine Corps because the Corps lives on. Marines come and go, and today as I leave active duty, I proudly pass the torch on to my daughter Emily, and to all the other Marines wearing our nation's cloth with great pride. I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve and will always remain Semper Fidelis. God bless you all.
In lieu of flowers for his family, Major General Bohm has made a donation to the Marine Corps Heritage Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for Anchors Aweigh in the Marines hymn. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's retirement ceremony. On behalf of Major General Bowers and the Bohm family, thank you for your presence. As a reminder, everyone is cordially invited to attend the promotion ceremony at the Molly Marine statue, at which time Sergeant Emily Bohm will be promoted to the rank of Staff Sergeant. Additionally, please join the Bohm family for a luncheon at Milano's Family Restaurant immediately following the promotion.